Hello, hello, hello. How are y'all doing? Welcome to Real Talk Live with Arnett D Love. And I am just so happy to be in your presence at this time. And I know that you miss me because I miss you too. And so I just want to first and foremost thank everybody that supported me through my ordeal with the passing of my uncle. And if anybody knows me, you know that I talk from um, my point of view and my point of view only. I do not believe in speaking on behalf of anybody unless I am in charge of the entire function. So I don't speak on behalf of anybody but me. So I want to first and foremost thank everybody for supporting me and my family throughout the ordeal with my uncle, throughout the passing, through the ceremony, all the millions of calls, text messages, and everything. I want to thank y'all so much because you have shown us nothing but love, and I surely appreciate it. And so I can't express enough my gratitude to your outpouring of love. I can't express it enough. I thank you so much for what you have done for me and my family, the gifts, the tokens of love. I appreciate it wholeheartedly. You just don't know. So I thank you for all of that. So I call this my reflections because I got a lot of phone calls and a few messages, text messages about the ceremony, which by the way was fit for a king. It was well put together, I guess like a fine piece of leather. It was the best ceremony. At times I forgot that was my uncle's corpse in that casket because I thought that I was at the ceremony for a sitting king. I really did. I mean, that ceremony was top of the top. I mean, it was up there. So people was calling me and texting me, but I'm gonna get to that. First, let me talk about what happened before the ceremony. Y'all know the video was put out before the ceremony on the funeral home page. So I was getting texts and calls about why I wasn't on the video. Listen to me, okay? For those who know me knows what about me and my uncle. Through it all, we always loved each other. The love was always there. And if you read your Bible, you know that love conquers all. Love conquers all. So love, there were never any love lost between us. Even when we had our little spat, we would always tell each other that we loved one another. So that never went away. And I thank God that we had that relationship, that no matter what came, what happened, we always loved each other. Now, getting back to this video, I was in the video. I surprisingly, I was in the video. And if you look at the video again very closely, you will see a bunch of people with the Dr. Seuss hats on. I was one of those with the Dr. Seuss hats on. Now, let me tell y'all something about that. It was an honor to be in the video because the way I was raised, if you're not the deceased, your picture really don't get put in the video or on the program. So it was an honor that I had that little cameo because I don't really believe in putting a whole bunch of other people in the video of the deceased. See, y'all didn't know that about me, did you? I believe it's all about the deceased. So I would only, if something happened to one of my people that I'm directly in charge of, I would only put pictures of them and maybe sporadically of them and their immediate family, but not a whole bunch of pictures of that either. But that's how I was raised. So I was actually delighted and grateful to have that little cameo in the video because I didn't expect it. But I had on the Dr. Seuss hat, and it tickled me to pieces because that defined our relationship, me and my uncle, because we were like two clowns together. We were so silly when we got together. I mean, when we had to handle business, we handled business. But for the most part, all we did was laughed at everything and then some. Okay, we joked hard. We didn't do no mom and pop jokes. We joked hard and we joked on each other. Okay, and so when I saw the video and we was in the Dr. Seuss hat, to me that was perfect. That fit us perfectly because we were two jokesters. Okay, and I know y'all didn't get to see that side of him. Some of you did, but many didn't. But we used to joke all the time and laugh all the time. My mama used to be like, y'all are so silly, you know. But that's why a lot of people thought that we were sisters and brothers and not niece and uncle. They didn't know that. They thought I was his sister. But he was my uncle, and I respected him as such. I treated him as such, and he treated me as a niece. We were not best friends. We were niece and uncle, okay? And we just had a relationship that even through the storm, our love wasn't affected, okay? I'm going to make sure y'all understand that. The next thing that I was asked is, why was nobody from the family, his family, represented at the funeral, or why didn't we speak? Now, we were represented because we were there, okay? For me, it was an honor to be there, to hear people talk about my uncle, to hear people that loved him, some of them that respected him, because I'm going to get into that in a minute, because you know I am. But to hear these people discuss how he treated them, because it doesn't matter how you treated him, he was going to always, some way around, come back and treat you with respect and love, if nothing more, okay? So it was an honor to be there. So we were represented. Why no one spoke, I don't know, because y'all know I can only speak for love, and I came there with the desire not to speak, whether it was on the program or whether, excuse me, y'all know my sinus act up year round. Whether we were on the program or whether it was a 2-minute reflections period, I had already said that I didn't want to speak because when I think about my uncle, it makes me cry. So I didn't want to be in front of all these people breaking down and can't get my words out because I'm a woman of many words. So I had already told myself that I wasn't going to speak. So it really didn't bother me that there was no place for family on the program. I don't know why I don't care. Don't really care, because his funeral ceremony to me was top of the line, okay? And when you're married, you do what you want to do for your spouse, and everybody else have to respect that. So I hope that answered y'all question. But y'all, let me thank y'all for loving me. I want to thank you for loving me, because y'all was pointing out stuff that I really didn't care about, that I really didn't even take notice to. But I want to thank you for loving me that much to say, hey, where were you? Because we know that y'all were close, and we know, and I mean, these were your exact words, we know that you loved him. And so I want to thank y'all, and I love y'all just as much. Let me tell you something. Family is not about blood. When I realized that at this moment we had to separate family from everybody else, it was difficult because I'm sitting here looking at these people that I consider family, and I'm like, wow, man, we're not really blood, but they're my family. You understand what I'm saying? So it was that was a moment of revelation for me to actually realize that many of the people that I call family aren't even my blood family. But y'all know I love you, and I don't hesitate to show you or tell you, whether it be through a hug, a smile, or whatever. I have a huge family because I consider so many people family, and so many people consider me as family, and I'm not going to ever change because I've always been that way. Many of you know that I was a baby at that church, New Mount Olivet. Me, Snoop, we were babies at the church. We didn't come there when we were little kids. We were born into New Mount Olivet, okay? And so most of New Mount Olivet knew me when I came back. And though, you understand? So I consider them my family. And whether I'm there in the midst of them, or whether I'm at home waiting for them to call me and say, hey, we get ready to go to dinner, meet us at this restaurant, they're my family. So when I had to sit there and look, and it was like, family come here, family come here, some of those people were my family. So family is not always blood. It's not always through a lawful relationship. Family is who you love and trust, and who you respect, and who respects you. That's family. So this part, it brought out a revelation. It was a real thing, because I had to for once be like, oh, that ain't not family. And I didn't like it. I didn't like it. So if I consider you my family, guess what? You are my family, and I love you, and I want you to continue to love me. So thank you for checking out me, because y'all was on it. Y'all was doing the doggone thing. When I tell you, y'all had questions, y'all wanted to know why, you didn't hesitate to come and ask why this happened, and why weren't you doing this? And I loved it, but I got an answer for you. Okay, so now, a lot of people talked about my facial expressions during the ceremony. Let me tell you something. Anybody that know me knows that I'm a transparent person, and I don't like hypocrites or hypocritical moments. And so my whole thing is, if you're going to do a teachable moment, make sure that you're not talking to yourself as well. That's all I'm saying. If you're going to do a teachable moment, make sure you're not guilty of what you're trying to ridicule others about. Okay, because the one thing about me, I forget nothing. I forget nothing. I forget nothing. And so my thing is, nobody knows what type of relationship people have with or had with my uncle. He was a different breed. He was a type of person that he would forgive you at a drop of a dime. He would. You guys may have an issue. You may have called him out of his name. And trust me, if you called him out of his name around me, I told him. So he knew how you felt truly. I just want to put that in the atmosphere. So you may have did all of these things to him, but he had a forgiving heart, a loving heart, and he was not going to charge it to your heart. He wasn't. So you don't know what kind of reconciliation was done before he passed. You don't know, so you can't really call people out about their relationship with him because you don't know it. And that's the problem around here. People want to jump on the bandwagon. You want to piggyback off of things that happen between other people that has nothing to do with you. So let's stop doing that. Let's start building relationships with individuals on our own. That way we can realize and see how that person is for ourselves. And we can say whether or not we crash or clash or whatever. And stop letting people tell you how people are. Because I always tell you, for every action, there is a reaction. If a person is not fond of someone, I can guarantee you that 9 times out of 10, it's because of something that has been done to them by that person. I always send my sisters little sayings, and one of my sayings is, if I don't care for you, or if I've done something to you negatively, it's because you did it to me first. You know what I'm saying? That's it. Because I don't bully anybody. I don't mistreat anybody, But if you do anything to me, you better be ready for the consequences, because I am going to come back with a vengeance, whether it be walking away from you in totality, or whether it be letting you know that I am not pleased with it because I'm not scared. You understand? But I'm coming back in some way. Be ready for the consequences, because you might just miss me. You understand what I'm saying? And that's with anybody. Don't push people away. Don't burn your bridges, because you don't know who you're going to need or who you're going to want in your life, who you're going to long for. Okay? So get to know people and learn how to reconcile. Okay? And when you reconcile, everybody don't need to know it. It's not their business, because they should have stayed out of it from the beginning. Had they not inputted themselves in that situation that had nothing to do with them, they wouldn't need to know that you reconciled. Stay out of folks' business. Stay out of folks' business. Then you don't have to worry about who this and who that, because you don't know the relationship of people. And so my facial expressions throughout the ceremony was based on the fact that the only thing that I really believed out of those speakers, that I really concrete believe, was the golf stories. I believe the golf stories. No disrespect to those wonderful pastors, those wonderful men of God, but I was sure that the golf stories were correct. And I was happy with that. I was happy with that, because I wasn't there to judge. I wasn't there to worry about whether or not your testimony or your side of you was true, whether or not your relationship with him was valid. I don't care. That's a non-factor. Only you and him knew what kind of relationship you had. So I really didn't care. It was 4 hours long or so. And plus that will put, a lot of expressions on my face. Someone said, lift your head up. Okay. I was getting text messages after text messages after text messages. I'm telling you guys, I'm praying for you. I see you. Hold your head up, start looking at the phone. I was getting all that. But I couldn't stop looking at the phone, because I was trying to respond to people, letting them know that I'm fine. I'm thanking them for caring enough about me. Someone text me, and said the camera is constantly on you. I have no idea why. Now, that's the church that my uncle went viral at, so maybe they're going to put together some stuff and that's going to go viral. I don't know. Maybe with my facial expressions, I don't know. But I don't want to watch the ceremony again. So I don't care how many times the camera panned on me. I don't care. It is what it is. But that's what the kind of stuff I was getting. The camera is constantly on you. Look up. I was paying attention to what the people was writing to me, because they were talking to me. Those people that was up there talking on the stage couldn't tell me nothing about my uncle. So they really weren't talking to me. You couldn't tell me nothing about him. I know him inside and out. I know him. Okay? So, and what we do is we all want to put out the good stuff that happened, and that's what you're supposed to do. And that's fine. But what I'm saying to y'all is, I know about my uncle. You can't tell me nothing about him. And I knew about some of the people that donned that stage. And I knew how they felt about him. And I knew what their next goal is. I know what their some of them, not all of them, but what their plan is. And it's going to come out. But I know, okay? I know. I enjoyed the service. And that's it. And I enjoyed it the way I enjoyed it. I loved it. I thought it was magnificent. I did. And so my facial expression is going to be what they are. If anybody knows me, I talk through my face. And let me tell y'all something about being a person that talks through their face. You better be able to back it up too. Because if you can't back it up, baby, you better be careful what you say through your face. Okay? Be very careful, because, them face expressions can get you in a lot of trouble. But, y'all know I'm P-Town, so we're not going to worry about that. Now, most funerals do have a family representative, right? Excuse me. I don't know how his siblings felt, and I'm not going to sit here and try to speak for them. But to me, it didn't matter. It didn't matter at all, because that's why you said that it always say, "May the worst that I've done," you know that song said, "May the worst that I've done speak for me," and everything that I've done spoke for me. With my uncle, it spoke for me. Even through our dark times, everything that we've done together spoke for us. Everybody knew that we were tight. So I don't need to get up in front of nobody and say that. And so I don't get upset with crazy stuff, or not upset. Let me put it this way. It doesn't hurt me. Y'all know that only the people that you love can hurt you. Did y'all ever know that? Do you know that only people that you love can hurt you? Everybody else just pisses you off. Okay? That's it. Everybody else just makes you upset. Think about that. Think about that. So to keep from being upset, listen to me, consider all that other stuff non-factors. Understand that this too shall pass. What has happened now? What has happened now will one day be gone away. A distant memory, a dream, a laugh, a lesson learned. But only people you love can hurt you. Okay? And there's different levels of love. Y'all know you got agape love. You got all these different levels of love. Okay? And so even at certain levels of love, it won't hurt you. But we got to understand there is a must for forgiveness. And I'm not talking about anything about this funeral now. And I'm trying to put a lesson out here, because the funeral was beautiful. We got that part. I want to put a lesson out here. Only the individuals that you truly love can hurt you. Everybody else upsets you. When you're at work and people are trying to come against you, that only upsets you. That shouldn't hurt you unless you're in love with somebody or you're loving on somebody in there. Nothing that you don't love should hurt you. Okay? And love shouldn't hurt. But y'all always, that life is life and we be lifing. Okay? And things happen. So don't think you hurt every time somebody don't let you have your way, or every time someone come against you. Don't look at it as hurt. And don't get upset. Try to get over it. Try to forgive. Try to let it go. People will send you to an early grave if you allow it, because of the stress factor. And you can't have all that stuff on your back. So you're going to have to learn to let some things go. And you're going to have to learn to ignore some things. Okay? You have to. It took me a long time to understand this. It took me a long time to understand it. And then I'm analytical. So I have to know why something happened, okay? I have to know what brought about this thing. Okay, so let me get into my reflections. Okay, y'all know that I was born in the 70s. So my uncle and I, when I was born, he was about 15. I was the second grandchild. Okay. So we all lived out Howard Park. If y'all remember where Howard Park is, or was across the street from Clark. Okay, so we lived at Howard Park. I was at my grandmother's house all the time, my mom and whatnot and stuff. My mother was married to Pastor Blunt's brother, oldest brother, okay? And so Pastor Blunt, like I say, was 15 when I was born or so, and he was very close to me. He played with me. I mean, he used to turn me into a real live doll baby. Okay? See, these is the kind of memories that I get to hold on to. All right? He would turn my cheeks red. Okay? And he would make me a doll baby, because if y'all remember back in the day, doll babies had red cheeks. And so he would make me a doll baby. So I'd run it out and be like, Mommy, I'm a doll baby. And now my mom get to screaming, Right, stop sucking on my baby cheeks, you know. And so I didn't know. I was a little girl. All I know is I wanted to be a doll baby, and my uncle could make me a doll baby. And so those are the memories that I hold on to. I remember when my uncle, because he started preaching very young. And so when my grandmother wasn't taking me to church, when he had to preach after our morning service, he would take me. I don't know. I guess I was the guinea pig. So we would come home from our service at Mount Olivet. Grandma would cook and we eat, and we had to take a nap. Well, I had to take a nap. And so I would take a nap, and I would take a nap, and and he would take a nap too, but we'd get up late. Okay, so now we rushing. So grandma getting me dressed, he getting dressed, and we rushing. So we get in the grandma car, we ride out to the church. He late. Everybody in the pulpit, everybody, in church ready. He throws me in the front pew, and he goes up in the pulpit, right? And I mean, literally tosses me on the front pew. Okay, we were late everywhere we went. Everywhere we went. And if y'all knew my uncle to this day, y'all know that my uncle ran late all the time. It was nothing new, honey. We were late everywhere we went. Whenever he had to preach and I was with him, trust me, we were late. And that's what we used to do. And when we moved from Howard Park, my uncle, my aunt would come to see us every day, just about. They would walk to see us. And that's how close I was to my uncle. So this was all before he became the pastor of Mount Olivet. So my memories with him are beyond anything that y'all know about. You understand? So I want to tell you my reflection since you asked about it, and I appreciate y'all because I love you so. My memories don't start in Mount Olivet. Okay, my memories start in 1972, 73 with him, and he was the best uncle ever. Okay, and even during our times, because every family fights, don't get it twisted, every family fights, but I tell you what, had anything happened or anybody done anything to him about it during the time that he and I had our little spat, you would have saw me. You would saw me. And some of y'all did see me, not during that time, but before, because y'all know I didn't play about him. I did not play about him. And it ain't no lie. Y'all know that some of y'all heard from me. Some of you heard from me, because I'm going to tell you real quick what you won't going to do to him. That's just how it was. That's how tight we were. He knew I was doing it. He didn't like it, but he couldn't stop me because I didn't play about him. Because he was a loving person. He was a forgiving man. He was very calm. He wasn't going to argue with you. Now, he could now. Don't get it twisted. He could get down with the best of them, but for the most part, he wouldn't. He was that type of person. And I wish that I could be more like him. I am growing. I am doing better, but I'm not there yet. But he was there. And so a lot of the stuff that was said yesterday was true. And I was pleased with it. And so, I think the funeral was a great funeral to honor a great man. Nobody's perfect. Let's get it, don't get it misconstrued. Nobody's perfect. But I think that he was honored very well. So getting back to my thing, like I said, even through our times when we were having, our little spat, my uncle never stopped telling me he loved me. Okay, I don't want y'all to miscalculate what you thought was going on because y'all was in our business. He never stopped telling me that he loved me, and I never stopped telling him that I loved him. And he never would allow people to talk about me, and I wouldn't allow people to talk about him. No matter what room I was in, everyone knew that I loved my uncle. Okay, and people tell you, I never denied it. I loved him, and I let everybody know. We had our issues, but I loved him. And see, that's the thing. When you have family, you're not going to always get along, but you always must show love. You must always love that person. And sometimes you might have to show love from a distance. There is nothing wrong with with separating yourself so you won't disrespect. See, I couldn't really continue. I was hurt, so the hurt came out, but the disrespect wasn't going to come out because that was my uncle. He was not my friend. He was not my brother. He was my uncle, and I respected him as such. Okay, so I always loved him. He always loved me. He never hesitated to tell everybody or anybody when I was in the room that he loved me, and I became his favorite niece, and that was his way of, that was our reconciliation piece. Okay, but people didn't understand that, and it won't for them to understand, and they dare not ask me because I had to tell them. I would have to tell them it wasn't your business. But what I'm saying is, I've always loved my uncle, and this is why I understand you don't know what kind of relationship he had with other people. Stop trying to figure it out. You don't know who liked him. You don't know who loved him. You really don't know what was between him and other people. So don't try to ridicule anybody based on an incident that you feel like happened or that happened, and you don't know whether or not they got through it. You don't know. Stop judging. Please stop judging. You understand what I'm saying? We have to start minding the business that pays us. We have to stop putting ourselves in other people's situations and relationship. We have to. We have to start loving one another more. And even myself included, we have to start forgiving and forgiving a little faster. We're not supposed to go to sleep on unforgiveness. We're supposed to forgive. Be angry for a short while, but we have to forgive. How can we expect God to forgive us when we can't forgive others? I had to pray many times and ask and repent for my unforgiveness. So I'm trying to get you to understand there is nothing worth holding on to. Free yourself. Free yourself because the other person is going on with their life. Free yourself, okay? So, like I said, back to me and my uncle. So we were at a good place. We were at a loving place. Actually, and my uncle had welcomed me back into our church. For those who didn't know, a lot of people didn't know. I'm telling you now, he had welcomed me back into the church. And as far as he was concerned, I was still on the roll, and he never took away my my license to preach. Okay. And so for those of you who all in our business, there you go. He never took my license to preach. I heard a lot of people talking about it. Why she's still calling herself Minister Love, and because my uncle never took away my license to preach, and he always called me Minister Love. He always let me know that I was one of his ministers. Okay? That's why it's important to stay out of folks' business. Okay? And stop trying to understand stuff that's not meant for you to understand. Okay? So, my uncle was put away tremendously. I am so proud to have been in the midst of such excellence. I thank y'all for being concerned, but it wasn't about me. It was about him. It wasn't about whether I had a part of it. It was about him. It was all about him, and I think it was done in good taste. I can't criticize anything. I really can't. I mean, you can feel the way you feel, but I can't. I really don't care enough. I'm just thankful that it went the way it went. He was a wonderful person, a good guy. He was hilarious. He was a great uncle. We just disagreed on some things. But as an uncle, he was a wonderful uncle. And I have some wonderful uncles. I do. I got some good uncles. I really do. I do. And I can only talk about how they treat me, but I have some good uncles, and I'm grateful. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a latch. I don't latch on to them. You know what I'm saying? I'm not always hugged up on them, but when I need them, they're there. Okay? When I need them, they're there for what they want to support me in. So I have great uncles. Uncle Roy will always be in my heart. And let me tell y'all something, because I've done so many funerals with him. Matter of fact, let me say this. My uncle gave so much of himself, so much of himself. And if you don't believe me, just pay attention and look at the things that he's done. I remember we used to do funerals back to back, because he would volunteer to do all the free funerals for the young men that was out here being killed in these streets. And I had to be with him. And one of the things that was difficult for me was when a young person life was cut short. And I kept saying, Uncle, I can't do these funerals. He was like, you have to. You have to do this funeral. You have to do it with me. And he said, this is what we're here for. And we would go out and do these funerals for these young people. And there was no charge. I wasn't allowed to take any money or anything. Well, when he would send me out to do funerals by myself, because I believe a laborer is worthy of their pay. And I told him, I said, look, a laborer is worthy of their pay. I need my coins. And he was like, no, we don't take money. So I used to take the envelope. They would give me a card, and I felt like I don't want to insult nobody. So I would take the card. I wouldn't open the card until I got home. That's when I would find that there was a little piece of change in there. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, okay, he said don't take no money, so I won't take money. But if they gave me a card, I took the card. But that's the type of person my uncle was. He didn't charge for a lot of stuff that he did. Okay, if you asked him to help you with something, he would. I remember when the homeless people would come to the church, he wouldn't give them the church money. He dug in his pocket. He gave them money out of his pocket, and to a point where he had me doing it. I'm going in there searching my purse, my little coins, to give to the homeless people, because he didn't take from the church, he took from himself. And those are the type of things that he would do. If you needed something, he would do whatever he could. People would come in asking for stuff, he would send them in my office and let me talk to them and see how we can help them. And I would call around and try to get assistance for them. Because he wanted to make sure that this person had somewhere to lay their head tonight, and this person had something to eat. And that was the type of person he was. I used to call the houses of our members to check and make sure that they're okay. Those were the type of things that he allowed me to do. Because of paying attention to him, I knew that we had to be mindful of our members. So I would call and say, how you doing? I just called to check on you and make sure that all is well. And those are the type of things that he condoned. Okay, so yes, my uncle was a great man. Like I say, no one is perfect, but he did what he could do for the community, and he did a great job. And all I can do is say, rest where your legacy will live forever, because I'm gonna make sure it does my way. Y'all know I'm all about what love does. I don't speak for anybody, and nobody can speak for me. And so I'm going to just bid you an adieu. With that being said, I thank you once again for all the love that you show me, because you guys have loved me unconditionally. Oh, let me tell you something that my uncle did for me. My uncle made me more independent than I already was. He made it to where I wasn't beholden to anyone. He made, and I don't believe he really realized what he did, but God used him to make me stronger than ever. You know what I'm saying? And it could only have happened the way that it happened. I can only be here by the way that it happened. And I'm thankful that he allowed God to use them, because he could have made a decision to say, no, that's my needs. I'm going to do this. But he went on with the plan, and God used him to make me a stronger person, a better person, a more independent person who is beholden to no one. And baby, I can move mountains with the faith that I have in God. And it was because he sent me Milton R. Blunt as an uncle. This was a lesson that I had to learn in order to move on. And I am just so happy to have been his niece. I am so happy for everything that we had, everything that occurred between us. I thank God for. So there are no regrets here, because the lesson was learned and the lesson was received. And I love my uncle. And I thank y'all so much for loving me. I thank you so much for loving him. and accepted him for who he was. And my family, we're going to be okay. Because, see, after the curtains close, after the casket is removed, we still have to deal with not having him here, not being able to call him, not driving by the church knowing that he's no longer in there. We have to deal with that. And so I thank y'all. And we know you loved him. But y'all, you understand when it's family, it's a little bit different because it doesn't end once it's all over after the services. We still got to carry this in our hearts. That was my grandmama's baby. She loved him so much, and so did I. I would walk into the room, and he would say, don't walk so fast because I thought you was mama. And, so I was her twin. I was her twin. And that's what he saw. I think that's why he was so close to me, because I looked so much like his mama. But I loved him. And I love you guys. And I ask y'all to continue to be my family. And continue to love me. I'll see y'all next week. God loves you. I love you. Make sure you love yourself. Go on and love someone else. Until we shall meet again, may you be tremendously blessed.